I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending July the 1st. And we had a very impressive pre-holiday week and closing out. It just seems like we're kind of doing an Aggie two-step, going one step forward and two steps back. But this past week we were on a step forward, and that was very important going into this holiday weekend. And the board and everything closed on Monday, and we've got a lot of big feeder cattle sales coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But your live cattle futures on the August contract through the week: Monday was up big, over $1. Tuesday was up 70 cents. Wednesday up almost $1.50. Thursday was up some. Friday we had a sell-off there with a lot of people kind of taking some profit there going into the holiday week, but ending the week at $112.97 on August, which was up $2.10 for the week, so pretty impressive. Feeder cattle, the August contract there, which is the spot month but still has the most activity in it by far. But Monday was up 70 some cents, Tuesday up $0.50, Wednesday was up $2.37, Thursday up $1.25, and then that sell-off again down $1.85 on the feeder cattle as well going into the holiday weekend. But ending the week with the August feeders at $142.45, which was up straight $3 for the week. Still pretty impressive. Corn continues to fade. Everybody was thinking that it was getting really hot and dry. A lot of that corn was rolling up and starting to suffer a little bit, but then we had some real nice widespread rains through that country, and everything really is shaping up to look like another bumper crop. So corn the previous week to this last week was down 54.5, if you remember. Well, this past week was down 27.25, so it looks like we're not going to have to worry about high corn anytime soon, although some of your distillers and gluten products are starting to get higher all the time, even though corn is pretty much going back down and getting real reasonable again. Your fat cattle trade on a big volume this week, and we haven't got the total results of it yet. We will beginning of next week after the holiday, but still a good price. Really proud of these feedlots for digging in there. They knew that these packers had used up a lot of their captive supply cattle. They've had these big kills, over 600,000 almost every week the past several weeks there, and so they needed to come out and buy some cattle, and they did, and they raised bids and got in there and got some bought, and really going to bottom at a price that's going to push on whether or not they're going to continue to make money or not. But they've been making so much money so far this calendar year that it probably wouldn't hurt them to get in the red for a week or two. But in the Southern Plains, your live fat cattle sales at $122, $5 to $6 higher. Northern Plains live sales, not a lot of live sales, but $123 on those. Dress sales $195 to $196. $7 to $8 higher. Some of those could be called as much as $10 higher off some of those lows that we had the previous week, but really regained a lot of that loss that we saw there on that rough week, previous week there, where we got down the lowest that we sold fat cattle so far this year. But really good. The feedlots are current. They've been reaching out and selling cattle and throwing more cattle on the show list that hadn't had a lot of days on them, and these packers still keep just lopping them up there. Your feedlot performance has still been pretty good. We had one week in there that got really hot and sticky, and the feedlots were really puking those fat cattle that week, just trying to get rid of them. But for the most part, we've made it through this part of the summer. We've still got a lot of the dog days to go, but pretty good. But even though we're as current as we are, your actual live hot carcass weights are not dropping anymore. We've kind of settled in there. This past information, it's 2 weeks old, come out with actual steer slaughter at 867, which is pretty sizable still. But it fell a lot there earlier in the spring and in the early summer there. But another big week expected for this past week on slaughter, almost 600,000, even though packers were needing to get out to buy some cattle, and they knew that their margins were not going to be near as good because the box beef cutout values have hit their peak there a couple weeks ago and have been trailing off quite a bit, but not quite as bad as a lot of people expected. But your slaughter almost 600,000, 598,000. That was This past week's slaughter was 13,000 less than the previous week, but hard to compare with the same week a year ago because we were actually in the holiday week a year ago, so can't find a good comparison there. We talked about box beef cutout values being lower the last couple of weeks. This week, for the average there, they were down $7.94 for the week, $208.88 on the choice. Your selects at $195.69, which was down $273. But that choice select spread continues to come together there. But look at some of your feeder cattle markets. Your cash feeder cattle were $3 to $7 higher this week. Good throughout. Had some sales that were just a whole lot higher and more higher than that. Scattered around through the country there. I had some good runs this week because it had been a little bit cooler around in the early parts of the week. Your feedlots were wanting cattle. Cattle feeders wanting to get something done because they knew they weren't going to be able to get any cattle this week because of the holiday, and you know, your entire southeast will be shut down completely. All your major Monday markets, Oklahoma City, Joplin, all your big ones will be shut down on Monday, and there won't be hardly any sales to get any cattle bought this week around. Now, we will probably see a spike in your CME feeder cattle index though, because the few sales that they are going to have around are going to be specials, and then there's people that save cattle for them, like in Green City, Missouri. There's producers that save cattle for that every year. They're going to have a big sale on Wednesday. It gets dumped in there with hardly any other thing to offset that, and it is going to spike your CME feeder cattle index price, which Friday come out through Thursday sales was at 143.66. But we are seeing prices a whole lot less than what they were a year ago, of course. But you look at some of your summer yearlings coming off grass in your middle weights, not your heavier cattle. In your middle weights, they're basically $1 a pound lower than they were the same time a year ago. Now a lot of your grass yearling guys really hate to take that price, but that's all they're going to get, and they really need to get in there and try to get some of those cattle sold while we're in this little bump. It may have really lucked out because we're seeing a little bump here right before the holiday week, and now we go through the holiday and there probably won't be a lot of activity. A lot of your traders won't be at the office, and I'm sure those computer programs will still roll, but there's not going to be enough trades coming in to really bounce this thing a whole lot. Don't look for a whole lot of activity on your futures market. Don't see much activity going on at all this holiday week. So if we can continue to hold what we've gained here this past week in this little pop right here, it could save the fall, and it could save these midsummer grass yearlings coming off, and it could really just make a whole lot of money for your feeder cattle industry right here. We've had a couple of big videos already. A cattle country video from up at Torrington had 33,000 this past week. Northern livestock video had 52,000. Both of those realized a pretty good spark, and there's a lot of other cattle that sell direct in the country off of those video sales. So it really helps out a lot of people. Now we've got some big sales coming up this week. Superior Livestock, as we get into the middle of next week, and their week in the Rockies, there going to be 260,000 head coming up there to start that following week, and I don't know if we can hold things together until that thing starts, because I still feel like we got more bearish than we do bullish out there, but that would help a lot. Your Western livestock video market has got a 3-day sale there that same week as Superior's there, and it's kind of unusual that they'd have it at the same time, but they're really out there west in California and places like that, and they really don't butt up that much together. But not many cattle really have sold so far out of your major grazing areas through the central part of the United States. Your Flint Hills, your Osage region, most of the time by 4th of July, those cattle are sold. They're just scheduled for delivery, because in those double stock pastures, those cattle will have to start getting out of there pretty quick. They need them out for there by the 15th of July. And a lot of them haven't sold yet. And it's not like they're just going to load them up and haul them to the sale, because there's just not enough activity in those sales right in that general area. Now you get to the northern part, you get up to Salina, Kansas, and they'll see a lot of cattle come into those sales. But some of those smaller sales down there through the turnpike and places, especially this time of year. They're not running hardly any cattle, and it's a little bit too risky to pull those into a sale. But you've got buyers running around like crazy out there in the Flint Hills trying to get some cattle bought. You've got feedlots that traditionally like to buy those cattle in that Kansas region because they know what they'll do. They'll absolutely do it all. They're the best feeder cattle of the year to buy. But you can give too much for gold too, so you have to be very careful about that. It looks like the magic price, and these cattle are weighing a little bit heavier than they normally do because they've had such a good year out there. But a lot of the slide's going to be at 900 pounds on your base weight instead of 8 or 850 this year. And it looks like your magic number on a 900 pound steer is about $1.40. So it could make or break either way. So if you know, we're going to have guys feel like that if they didn't get $1.40 for their 900 pound base weight steers off grass, they're going to be very disappointed. If they get more than that, they've done a pretty good job selling them. I've talked to some buyers out there that have some grazers, producers out there that have some cattle, and they don't think they can get them bought for $1.40 to a 3. But it's going to be really tough to get any more than $1.40 for those. And that's just kind of the line that's been drawn in the sand there. But all you guys from DV Auction here, you guys have a great 4th of July. Enjoy every bit of it. Grill some steaks and hamburgers and have a good time with your family and friends. And from my home office here in Canyon, Texas, we'll talk to you after the holiday.